All right. If we will pull our lessons from last week out, we're going to continue with the lesson from last week. Genesis 22, Abraham tested. That's it right there. If we go to, I think it's the 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the 4th page from the back. That's how far we should be through this lesson.
The 4th from the back?
Yes.
The one that says, should we accept?
Yeah, the test kept coming. Yeah, it started off, should we accept only good from God and not adversity? Right one. And that's probably where we want to start off talking this week. Fourth page from the back, Margaret.
Thank you, sis.
So if you go to the back page and then count to right there. Is everybody there?
Yes.
Now, we have been talking about Abraham and the test that he has been going through, and how that at the beginning of his life, he had faith to leave his home. But after leaving his home, he had not grew to a place in faith where he trusted Yahweh to protect him. Now, he had faith enough to leave his father's home, but he didn't have faith enough to know that the one that told him to leave his father's house, that he would protect him. And we talked about the Hebrew boys and the faith that they had to have as they went into the fiery furnace on last week. And we talked about how that their faith was to the place that they actually told King Nebuchadnezzar that even if he do not protect us from this furnace, we know that he's able.
Yes, he is.
That's right.
See, and that's the type of faith that we have to be striving to have or either already have. It's where that we know no matter what the situation is, whether he do it or not, he is able. Because a lot of us lose our determination. We lose patience with the true and living God if he don't answer a prayer when we feel like it needs to be answered. We lose patience with the living God if a situation isn't carried out the way we wanted it to be carried out. But see, when you're doing that, then your lack of trusting him is in place. Your lack of giving him the praise and honor that he deserves. Because sometimes he do things different than he done it the last time in your life. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes he does things different than he have done it the last time in your life. Because he's trying to bring forth something in you. Whether he's trying to stretch you to a greater place of faith for the next situation that is headed your way, or whether it is just so that he would get honor and praise from you. Because see, when we look at what Job went through, and well, we're talking about Job right now, we're talking about Job from chapter 1 through chapter 12. And as you've seen, and as our paper said, that when Job's wife, if we want to turn back one page, in test number 3, which was the ultimate test, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. This is a test where that Job's wife came against him and was being used to see if his love for her would have him to take down or go against the true and living God.
Yes.
But Job right here in verse 9, it says his wife said to him, do you still retain your integrity? And then she told him, curse God and do what?
Die.
And die. In verse 10, Job speaks, and he says, you speak as a foolish woman speaks. He told her, should we accept only good from God and not adversity? And see, this is a place where a lot of us struggle. When God is blessing you, everybody is upbeat. Everybody's happy. If God took away every problem from your life on a day-to-day basis, and you don't have no problems, your kids are all flourishing, your kids are all healed, your kids are all... Everybody around you can see that your kids are doing good. Everybody around you can see that you don't have any problems. Everyone around you can see that you are prospering. Everyone around you can see that all your bills are paid. Everyone around you can see that all you have to do is think about you want to go on a trip, and you go on a trip. You can just think about, I need some new furniture, and new furniture start popping up. So you're walking in the total blessings of Yahweh, where that whatever you desire, it is being provided. So you're in a very good place. But now, adversity shows up in your life. You just got a bad report about one of your children. That brand new car that you bought 2 weeks ago, it just got totaled. The bank calls you and tell you that bank account is empty. When they check into it, you just had identity theft.
Oh boy, not that.
And so at this time, all your accounts are frozen. So where that you was going and doing anything that you want to do, you can't do that at this point. You get another call that lets you know that your child just lost that house that you had given them. Sound like adversity is breaking out in your life, huh? Will you still trust him?
That's right.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Will you still give him honor and praise?
Yes.
Will you still trust him on a day-to-day basis?
Yes.
Yes.
See, because we're being tested in these different things in our own personal lives on a day-to-day basis. It says, and the test kept coming in Job's life. Chapter 1 through 12 of Job, Job's mind is made up to pass the test, no matter what anyone say or do. And that's where we have to be. We have to be to a place that no matter what no one says, that we know that the true and living God is here for us.
Yes.
Yes.
Again, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
That's right.
Job knew that no matter what had happened or what was going to happen, Yahweh was going to bring him out.
Amen.
Amen.
I know this is hard for the average person to understand. Job didn't know when or how things were going to change. When the hedge of protection was removed, because see, the adversary had already tested every part of Job.
That's right. Sure had.
Right.
And when he came back to the true and living God, after the true and living God asked him, have you seen my servant Job? And he had to go take a look. He went and looked at everything. Just like a man or a woman that is casing a house in order to rob it. They was looking for the weakest part. They was looking for the place to attack. They was looking for the place to break in. So the adversary, after going through all this, went back to the father and said that you have a hedge of protection around him.
That's right.
That's right.
A hedge of protection around him. Meaning that with everything that you have gave Job, you didn't just give it to him without security. You gave it to him with security there that if anything popped up, he was not going to be without.
Yes, yes.
But what this paper is saying, it says, when that hedge of protection is removed, it's not there no more. I still trust you.
That's right.
Everything I value is gone. I still trust you. That new car is gone. The houses and the land is gone. The servants are gone.
Oh, yeah.
The bank accounts are gone. The gold is gone. The silver is gone. My food supply is gone. I yet still trust you.
That's right.
In Job 12 and 4, Job answers his friend. See, because when you start going through what Job is going through, people that are close to you are going to start asking questions. And right off the bat, they're not going to come to you with the questions. They're going to sit around, and either they're going to talk among themselves, or either they're going to get by themselves, and they're going to try to reason out what's happening in your life. And so Job is going through this situation, and mind you, these people have been in Job's life for a very long time.
That's right.
So these are not just no people that he just met a year ago, or some associate that he met in the grocery store. So these are people that have known his life, have watched him be blessed by the true and living God, have watched his children be blessed by the true and living God, have watched him go about his way getting anything that he wants, have watched blessings flow from him to other people, and it was a statement years ago that said that you had the Midas touch, meaning when they said that, they were saying that everything you touch turns to gold.
Oh, that's right.
Well, that's how Job was looked at. That everything that he touched, everything he done was on the up and up. See, that's what gold means that there's nothing to stop whatever you touch. If it was bad and you touch it, it just turned good. If it was cursed, just as soon as you touch it, now it's blessed.
Amen.
And that was the influence. That was the reputation that Job had. But all of a sudden, right here in Job chapter 12, verse 4, he has had a conversation. Well, really, in Job chapter 11, is where he really has the conversation with this friend. And his friend have already thought how he's going to talk to Job about his situation. He have already, see, because we as people, we're good at doing what? Trying to pick our words.
Yeah.
How I'm going to break this to you. Where that I feel I won't hurt your feelings. Where I feel that you may not really realize my motive. And so when he comes to Job here in Job 12 and 4, Job answers his friend Zophar. He says, I am a laughing stock to my friends. I am a laughing stock to my friends. So if you are a laughing stock to your friends, this means that at one time these same friends did what? They looked up to you.
Right.
That's right.
Everything that had to do with anything, you was always the person that they came to. Now wait a minute, let's go talk to Job, because man, look at this man's life. Look how successful he is. And we need his advice. But at this point, we don't need no advice, because we can see that he's in dire straits.
Right.
We can see that he done lost everything that he owned. So at this time, he is a laughing stock to his friends. And so Job said, I am a laughing stock to my friends by doing what? Calling on God who answers me. So what is that saying? That's saying that these friends are feeling like the wife was feeling about his relationship with the true and living God. See, and this is a lesson to all of us, because at times Yahweh can be doing stuff in people's lives, and we may think that it is a curse. We may think that this and that is going on, when the only thing that is going on, that Yahweh is doing things to increase faith.
Yes.
He is doing things to stretch you to the next level that he is taking you to. It says, the righteous and the upright man is a laughing stock. So Job is telling you who he is. But this is after Yahweh have already told us earlier in the chapters of Job that he was this upright and righteous man. But what Job is saying, in all this righteousness, in all this upright living, I am now a laughing stock.
Right.
So what is he saying? I really didn't want to come out the house today because I didn't want to deal with what I got to deal with.
Right.
I didn't really want to be seen today or talk to nobody because all the stuff that I'm going to have to deal with in this situation that I'm in.
Yes.
But this is what's so profound now. When you got the earth talking and giving testimony about you, when you got the birds talking about you, you got somebody giving testimony for you.
Amen.
It says at verses 7 through 10, Job still testifies about Yahweh.
Yes.
Verse 7 he says, but ask the animals, and they will instruct you. Ask the birds of the sky, and they will tell you. Or speak to the earth, and it will instruct you. Let the fish of the sea inform you. Which of all these does not know that the hand of who?
The Lord has done this.
That the Lord have done this. So no man, no adversary, nothing on the face of the earth can take credit for what is happening in my life.
Yes.
That's right.
All this is done by the hands of the Most High, the one that created me.
Yes.
The same one that sent the adversary to even test me. Is the one that have allowed all of these bad things that we look at as being bad things to come forth in his life. He says, verse 10, the life of every living thing is in his hands, meaning the true and living God's hands,
Yes.
as well as the breath of all mankind. So he still testified. Now this man that lost everything, he got every reason and natural thinking to to be upset with the true and living God.
Yes.
He has every right in natural thinking to not even care about the living God anymore.
Right.
Because at this point, from what I'm going through, it don't seem like the living God even care about me anymore.
Amen.
How do I come from being the most righteous and upright man on the face of the earth to being the most looked down upon person in the world? How do I come from being the most blessed looking, and listen how I'm saying this, how do I come from being the most blessed looking person on the earth to come into looking the most cursed person on the earth? How did that happen? How do I go from riches to rags in less than 24 hours? How does that happen? And the only way that he could explain it, because he knows what was the source of his wealth. And he knew that the only one that had it in their power to take this wealth from him was the Most High God.
Amen.
Yahweh himself.
Yes,
So
yes.
he's not even taking time to think about a hurricane. He's not taking time, even though he's seen those winds blow into his property and things begin to happen. He's not talking about the wind. Even though he has seen death come and death leave his property, he's not even talking to death. Even though he has seen wealth leave his property, he's not talking to wealth. He's talking to the true and the living God.
Amen.
From the first to the 12th chapter, Job remained loyal and trusted Yahweh no matter what happened. From the 12th chapter to the 42nd chapter, Job remains loyal and trusted Yahweh no matter what his friends' opinions were of him and Yahweh's handling of his life. Who's handling of his life?
Yahweh.
Okay, so again, we're not talking about Satan doing anything.
No.
We're talking about Satan being given the right. See, there's a difference. See, people want to tell me that the devil can just run around here and do anything he wants to do.
No, he can't.
And from this story right here, it lets you know, because Scripture teaches us that we serve a what? An unchanging God.
Changing.
That's right.
So he didn't change his mind after Job and then say from this point on, the adversary has full reign to do whatever he wants to do on this earth. No, the adversary still goes before the living God every day, just today, with the rest of the angels, and has to check in. How about that? And after he checks in, then he goes and he says, now look, your servant Marcus, your servant Phyllis, your servant Joanne, your servant Elder, your servant Linda, your servant Curtis, your servant Lucy, your servant Margaret,
Yes.
blase, 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 blase. And guess what? When he get his orders, you don't get them mixed up either.
Right.
What he asked for to do in my life is what he's going to try to do in my life.
Yeah.
Whatever he asks to try to do in your life, that's what he's going to try to do in your life.
That's right.
But the true and living God do not give him an okay
No, right.
if he do not know that he have equipped you with what it takes for you to come through that test.
Amen.
So what's that saying? That's saying that the true and living God knows our endurance or our strength level better than we do.
Better than we do.
Now it's up to us, as you can see in this story, for us to be as Job and stand the test of time.
Amen.
No matter what the adversary brings your way,
Doesn't
you can
matter.
come through it.
That's right.
Hallelujah.
No matter what the adversary asks to be able to do in your life, you can come through it. Now, it's up to you if you want to trust the living God to bring you through it.
That's right.
That's right.
Say that again.
See, after Job done went through all of these opinions, and see, we just talked about one of his friends, but I want you to know there was a list of friends throughout these chapters that came and told their opinion of what they saw going on in Job's life. And what they thought that he needed to do. And for some reason, you're not living that righteous life that you was once living. For some reason, you're not doing everything that you need to do. Then it says that Job speaks to Yahweh in Job 42, 2-3. He says, I know that you can do anything, and no plans of yours can be what?
Prevented.
So Job is still doing what? He's still giving praise and honor.
Yes.
He's still giving all of the glory and all of the authority to anything that's happening in his life to the one who is doing everything in his life. He's not sitting here and he's not trying to reason it out. Because he knows who controls his life. He knows who controls all mankind.
Yes.
He knows who controls the earth. See, when you got a president in the office of president, most times you don't know all the people that work up under him, do you? So if something, right tonight, if something happened in America and actions needed to be taken, who are you looking to take those actions? You're looking for the president to take those actions to protect America.
Okay.
Now, it's a lot of people that works up under that president.
Yes, it is.
But you're looking for that president to be the authority to even say what happens, right?
Right.
Well, right here, that's what Job is doing. Job is looking at that there's there's nobody on the face of this earth that I have put my trust in. There's no one that I am looking to bring me out of this situation. I'm not going here checking the stock market to see is my stock coming back up. I'm not going here watching the stats of the company that I own and seeing if it's on the upswing to come back to being a liable company or a company that is showing increase. I am looking for everything to come from the true and living God.
Right.
And then it says in verse 3, you ask, who is this who conceals my counsel with ignorance? Surely I have spoke about things that I did not do what? Understand. So you got to understand that everything that have been taken from Job, everything that Job have went through, he don't understand. Because he was in a situation where he had not sinned before the living God.
My God.
See, if there's sin in your life, and if you know that you didn't keep your part of the bargain and stuff start happening in your life, you're going to sit there and you're going to reason it out if you are a reasonable person. And some people, they can do bad things, and when things start going the other direction, they want to blame other people for the outcome. But in Job's situation, it is shown that this man has never done anything wrong because the true and living God didn't say it once. He said it twice. He said that this was an upright man. He was blameless and he shunned evil. Meaning that he walked away from anything that was evil in the sight of Yahweh. So that means that there's no reason for this to be happening in his life.
Right.
And if you go back and you read this story of Job, you will find out that this man, he cursed the day that he was born.
Yes.
He did a lot of talking.
Right.
He did a lot of venting. He did a lot of dealing with his frustrations.
Right.
But what this man never did, he never once questioned the true and living God on why he was going through what he was going through.
No, he didn't.
That's what trust means. That being with a made-up mind to stay obedient to the true and living God. Where that no matter what's going on in your life, you may not feel that it's fair. You may not feel that you deserve to even be going through it. You may not even feel that it should even be part of your life. But what we have to know for sure is that the true and living God makes what? No mistakes.
That's right.
That's true.
No mistakes.
So in verse 7 through 9 is when Yahweh vindicates Job. But I want y'all to look at something before we look at the vindication. This has been a long time before this vindication came. This story starts off in chapter 1. Things were taken out of his life in chapter 1. In chapter 1, he lost all these things that we've been talking about.
Yes.
Houses, cars, servants, all his family. Just think the only person left living with you was his wife. But they had children. They had, I mean, and it don't say it, but I want to believe that some of these children already had children. But they were all taken.
Everything.
And everything else was taken. And this is in chapter 1. But the place that he's vindicated is in chapter 42. And if you know scripture like I know scripture, this wasn't no 42-year process. We don't know how many years that this situation lasted.
My God.
But what we do know from what Yahweh is fixing to say
Yeah.
is that this man remained patient.
Yeah.
He remained full of trust.
Yes.
He remained faithful. He remained in total agreement. Well, I ain't going to say total agreement. Because he said he didn't understand. But what I will say he didn't go against the living God. Let's say that.
All right.
In verses 7 through 9, Yahweh vindicates Job. It says, after the Lord had finished speaking to Job, he said to Eliphaz the Temanite, I am angry with you and your two friends. For you have not spoken the truth about who?
Me.
And who else?
My servant Job.
Okay, now, that's a good thing when your relationship is so close to the true and living God that when people are not speaking the truth about you, they're not speaking the truth about him.
Think about it.
Your relationship is so close with the true and living God is that when people are lying on you, they lying on him. Verse 8 says, now take 7 bulls and 7 rams and go to my servant Job and offer a burnt offering for yourself. Now, did he tell him to offer the burnt offerings to him?
No.
For yourself.
No, wait. Where else in Scripture have you ever seen the living God tell people to offer a burnt offering to another human being? Nowhere. And most people never catch that. Job's obedience before the living God was so great. And the sin of these men was seen in the living God's eyes to be so great that he made them do a burnt offering for Job. Not for him, for Job. Read it again. He says, go to my servant Job and offer a burnt offering for yourself. Then my servant Job will pray for you, and I will surely do what?
Accept his prayer.
Oh, it didn't say accept the offering. It said accept Job's prayers. Because the offering that I'm asking you to give is not to me. It is to Job. Job will pray for you, and I will surely accept his prayers, and I deal with you as your folly deserves.
Whoa.
Yes.
So he's giving them another chance at life.
Yes.
For you have not spoken the truth about me. See, he didn't say it once, he said it twice. And from me studying scripture, every time something is said more than once, back to back like this is, it's something that he really wants you to know. It's something he really wants you to pay attention to. For you have not spoken the truth about me as my servant Job has. So what is he saying? Throughout this whole process, no matter what I allowed to be done to this man, whether he agreed with it, whether he understood it, whether he was fine with it, or no matter how he felt about it, he never once turned his back on me. He never spoke against me. Now, if you go back and you read those chapters, Job had bad days just like we did when we going through stuff. But the person he kept as my fault was what? The true and living God.
Yeah.
And he never once said what the true and living God couldn't do. He always kept saying what the true and living God could do and would do.
Yeah.
And that is where that when your faith is being grown, when you are living a faithful life, you have to be to that place where that no, you're not going to agree with everything that's going on, but you got to know for yourself that the true and living God is going to bring you out.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Then, Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, Zophar the Naamathite went and did as the Lord had told them, and the Lord accepted Job's prayer. In verse 10 through 15, Yahweh restores Job. After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortune and gave him twice as much as he had before.
Yes.
All his brothers and sisters and everyone who had known him before came and ate with him in his house. Now, see, we didn't really talk about his brothers and sisters. Throughout this whole process, we have not said nothing about his brothers and sisters. Even when the process started, I don't even remember a mention of his brothers and sisters. It was all about his personal household.
Yes.
So, we have brothers and sisters, right?
Yes.
If you went through what Job had just went through, what type of conversations do you think your brothers and sisters would be having concerning you? Yeah, we don't have enough, what are those statements? I wish I could be a fly on the wall. We don't have enough flies on the wall to even tell the story of what would have been coming out of their mouths about you, about you and your God, about you and your trust in Him, about you and your relationship with Him. Okay, well, what about your relationship? What's going on now? Okay, you're not driving that Benz no more. Yeah. You not living in that nice house no more, and you may be still in that nice house, but it looks like it's falling down. See, this is just things that we know in the world that we live in.
Yes.
That would be said about you because you choosing to trust the living God in spite of what it looks like.
Yes, yes.
But it says, all his brothers and sisters and everyone who had known him before came and ate with him at his house. So these people are going to come back and eat with you at your house after they thought that something wrong with this person. See, because one thing that we know people are going to praise you when you're up, and they do what when you're down?
That's right. That's right.
They talk about you and beat you down. It says they comforted and consoled him all over all the trouble that who?
The Lord had brought him.
That the Lord had brought on him. And each one gave him a piece of silver and a gold ring. Wow. Well, where were these people when I was going through and I didn't have nothing?
They stay away.
Well, they give you when you already have it.
The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. He had, if you go back to the first chapter and you start looking at these, all these numbers double. Okay? If he's giving back 14,000 sheep, he started off with 7,000. Okay? He's giving back 6,000 camels, that means he had 3. Okay? 1,000 yoke and oxen, 1,000 donkeys. And he also had 7 sons and daughters. The first daughter he named Zemanmah, the second Kizah, the third one Kirah-Haspash. Nowhere in all the land were there found women as what?
Beautiful as Job's
So
daughter.
these got to be some good looking women.
All right.
Yes.
So when the blessing came in all great ways. But the other part of it says, and after this Job lived what?
140 years. 140 years.
Now, what I would like to know is really how old was he when this happened? Because from this point, he had to have some age on him for him to have known Abraham.
All right.
And then he lived another 140 years. It says he saw his children and their children to the 4th generation.
Wow.
And so Job died as an old man full of years. So see, this is something to really take in. Now, none of us, as we see the world from the perspective that we know the world, we don't. Does anybody here want to live 140 years?
We got one.
I see one hand go up. Now, I would just like to have seen with my own eyes how Noah and them was at 100 years old. What they were like at 200 years old. Because these people had to have a lot of youth in them at this age for them to live another 400 years, another 800 years. Because it says that we lived before Yahweh cursed us